Well, good morning. Nice to see you again, although I can't see you. Thanks again. I listened to this. I listened to it once the next day just to make sure what I said wasn't totally. But thanks, for reading or listening to it, and thanks for your nice comments. Thank you. So today, the thing about music that I use to connect me to faith is the great need for humility and patience. I'm kind of over the years have come to realize that I think everybody should reach a point in their life where they have to critically think about everything that they believe. Most of it comes from what we were taught. And at some point as an adult, you should stop and consider the things you were taught and decide whether or not they are really true or false or damaging or helpful. Just like kind of cleaning out the closet. In music, what I'm finding for myself just recently, with maybe the past year or so, is I'm having to relearn a number of the ways I play, the way I process music. And it's not humiliating, but it's like I have to go back to square one. And the things I have to change are, for instance, with organ, music, most of our choral music, organ and piano we do in churches, is a bass, a tenor, an alto, and a soprano, all those voices working in tandem. Creating these beautiful threads of music, all of which combined produces, choral music is so beautiful to me. And generally, we learn that the left hand covers the bass and the tenor, and the right hand covers the alto and soprano. And the music's written that way on the G clef stave. That's what you have, and on the bass you have the lower voices. And what I've learned, there's all sorts of great teachers out there, and they're hidden away in little places. And this I found in the Organ Guild. One of their really great professors from one of the big colleges, just talking about better ways to approach organ music. And since that's my least familiar and comfortable, that's what I'm seeking to improve. And he said, the pedal, of course, is the bass, and for the left hand needs to be the tenor and the alto, and only the soprano in the right hand. So I need the skill set that I have acquired, but now to be able to further bring out the music, God is growing me in this thing, right? And I want to grow because I want to be a faithful steward. I have to reprocess where I see the alto, and I have to hook that to my left hand. So instead of the bass and the tenor, I have the tenor and the alto. And it's like learning how to walk again. And so that's the thing I'm struggling with, and I'm learning how to do that. And it's slow, but like everything, it happens. You just have to patiently apply yourself, and this is the thing I want to do. And of course, since I teach, I'm always telling my students, you just have to be patient. You have to laugh when you make a mistake. And it's really good because I have to know that too for myself. So that's one of the things I'm relearning. And the other thing I'm relearning is when you play, your fingertips we have like the most nerve endings. And so when I touch the keyboard, I have now a picture in my brain. It's nothing to do with my eyes. And like with kids, sometimes they'll play like this and their thumbs won't be on. And so their brain doesn't have a complete picture. And that messes them up because it's like walking thinking you only have one foot. You know you have two, but if your brain can only feel one foot, you're gonna stumble. And it's the same, except it's very fine motor skill. And I'm becoming acutely aware now of the need to know exactly where every finger is all the time. And If I'm playing very, very complicated music, it's like watching this incredible picture in high definition. Like I was practicing here just before we got started, and something that's even virtually simple, like if I'm playing, this is just a little bit of Beethoven, just that bit. I know where my fingers are, but here everything has to move, and every finger has to play exactly right to balance it so that the picture is proper. Not so good, right? And no matter how much you move and leap and jump, you always have to be in control. And I never realized that. I used to just play, I played in a band, I just played to, I told you I played with exuberance, I had a lot of feeling, but those details are only now God saying, okay, now I need you to learn that, which thrills me because I often wondered why my music doesn't sound as good as when I hear other people. And I pray about that, and just within the last few years, I'm realizing it. And not only am I realizing it, but the beauty of God is now this is how you learn to do it. He doesn't just say, well, that's what you should have done 20 years ago when you took lessons, because 20 years ago when I took lessons, nobody told me about that. Or maybe they did and I wasn't listening. Or let's go back 50 years. So I learned what I needed to learn, and now I have to reevaluate the things I learned and decide what's useful and what's not. And most of it is personal habit. And then you have to relearn things. And I thought, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I'm really glad, because I think we each know inside of ourselves, we would like to be able to do a certain thing. And it's very frustrating if you don't know how to get there. And then when you see how it is, and then you have to say, oh, okay. And God said, no, you have to come back now and start again. And so that's okay too, because if God wants it, there must be plenty of time for it. And the thing I was thinking about then, how I tie this to faith, is just that very thing. There's some places in the scripture, right? It says, once you put your arm to the plow, if you look back, you're not worthy of following me. I said, wow, that is such a strong, somehow it's wrong to, I wish things were the way they were. God says this is a lack of faith. When you say, I would give anything if it could just be the 1980s again or something like that. That's saying to God that was the best you had to offer for me. And there's nothing in the future because I'm uncomfortable. And so I just want to go back. I want to stop following you and go back. And this is very bad practice in faith. But don't we do that? We long for old things. And then I was thinking just a little bit further. We long for familiar things. And nothing should be more familiar to us than God. And so the idea of turning aside from following God should scare you. It should scare you to death. Because that's the only thing in your whole life that's consistent and dependable. And if he created, there's maybe a great period of years in your life, and then imagine that that's nothing compared to what he's going to do for you. But you have to go through whatever that difficulty is, and you have to relearn something or add something much more important to the skill set that, for whatever reason, for you can only happen at this point. For me, this only could have happened at this point in my life. So I don't think to myself, I really could have been something, No, it doesn't matter. I'm God's. I'm done. I'm good. I'm God's. But God has now something for me. And again, it's probably going to help other people because that's the beauty of God. And so that concept, I like the psalmist shepherd, we all know it, right? The whole thing is beautiful, but the part that I really is, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that's our whole life is a walk through the shadow of the valley of death, that always there are things darkening the way, trying to distract us and threaten us, and that's the way it is. But he leads you through it. And so he gives you whatever the thing is to do. But you have to decide, what things am I thinking about that aren't helping me? I think about things like, when I was a kid, in neighborhoods in New York, very ethnic, and it seemed quite normal to not like a particular ethnic group. And if you're a kid and everybody, all your adults say that or they mock them, then that's reality to you. And you're just going to take that. And I think a lot of what we see with prejudice is steeped in just, for whatever reasons, we were just given that bit of information, but never, you can't tell the adults in your life, well, why do you think that? I say, because I do, and then of course that gets to the thing, you should always be able to ask your parents anything, and a parent should always want their child to ask them anything, and then you talk about it, and you can help them, because I know with my kids, sometimes they say, well, you really like this, and I say, I don't particularly like this or that. The reason I did it was for this, and it totally changes everything. And so it is then with faith, and music teaches me that it changes everything. I so much more enjoy music, and I'm struggling so much more with it. And then it's the same with faith. I have to give up some things, like the idea to just play like a madman. Is maybe it's good if people are dancing, but you can't go on as a madman. You have to eventually, calm down and gain your sanity, and when you do, God can then reveal to you more deeper, meaningful things, and then you don't worry about the trouble you're in. You don't wish you could go back. You can have a fond memory, right? Why not? But always. And just imagine, that's nothing compared to where God's taking you. And so there you go. Take piano lessons, but take them for like about 70 years. Because God is just, constantly renewing. And that's all I wanted to really say. I don't really have a song that expresses that. I just wanted to share that, if you're struggling and having to relearn something, it's probably going to be great. Just enjoy it and laugh and forgive yourself and allow yourself to keep stumbling, because God will not let go of you. So anyway, thanks, and I hope you have a terrific week.